And what do you now believe happened?
Bert carried him down the steps. Lincoln had his pacifier in his mouth, and he walked back into the living room area, handed Lincoln his bottle on the ground, stepped over him, and walked just a couple steps. And then he turned around, and you can see him on camera. He makes a violent kicking motion that you can't see the bottom part of his body, but you can see the top part. And he walks back into the living room and got a piece of pizza. And then he walks back in the living room and picks up Lincoln and makes it like a violent shoving motion to the floor and rams him head first to the floor. And he at that point, I heard a sound, which was the second sound. I thought the dog had done something. It was a large puppy. So I yelled down, and he didn't respond. And in my mind, I thought that he was intentionally ignoring it, so like he didn't have to clean up whatever the dog had messed up. Went to the top of the stairs, and I said, you know, babe, what was that? And he yelled up, and he said it was Dax, which is the dog. So I go down there. Lincoln's pacifier was on the floor at like the base of the stairs. It was on the ground, so I picked it up, took it over the sink, and washed it off. And
you piece all of these events together after the fact based on the tapes that the prosecutors have recovered from the servers, correct? And some of it you see, some of it you infer. It's the flow of events you see from what the prosecutors recovered.
Correct. At that point, Lincoln was laying on the couch looking up at the TV. So I went to walk around to give him his pacifier, and Bert was on the other couch. He was like, no, he's asleep. And I kind of looked around, and I told him, it was like, he's not asleep yet. Like, his eyes are open. And he was like, well, go on. If he sees you, he's not gonna go to sleep, and he's almost asleep, so don't let him see you. So I put his pacifier on the arm of the couch and went back upstairs. I guess that's whenever he picked up Lincoln and carried his body around. I think he probably thought that I was gonna come back downstairs, and if he was falling asleep on the couch, maybe like try to like cuddle up to him or pick him up or hold him or something. So he carries him into the kitchen, gets another piece of pizza, and then eventually takes him to my room and lays him in my bed. He came upstairs, and I asked where Lincoln was, and he said that he fell asleep on the couch and put him in my bed. And I thought, awesome.
Now, that showed him carrying Lincoln, and you believe at that point that Lincoln had already been brutally and violently kicked in the head and was, for all intents and purposes, brain dead at that point.
Yeah, it was 3 minutes from the time that he carried him downstairs, sitting up, normal toddler, to that moment where he carries him into the kitchen, unconscious. Lincoln was a normal toddler. There was no getting him to sleep in 3 minutes flat. His legs are curved in, and they are dangling. You can tell that it looks at one point, both of his legs stiffen straight out and they collapse. They think he was probably having a seizure.
So he then puts Lincoln to bed in your bed.
Yeah.
And you continue working on a project. You then check on Lincoln.
Yeah, I had walked through the room. At one point, I acknowledged that he was laying in a certain position. Later on, I'd gone in to feel his forehead to see if he felt warm. I just thought he was sleeping.
Was it typical for him to sleep in your bed some?
Yeah, we co-slept quite a bit. In my bedroom, I was working upstairs, working on this cabinet upstairs. And my bedroom is the only bedroom downstairs. So it just kind of made sense, In
retrospect, do you think he may have put him down there so you would be less likely to engage him, interact with him, check on him?
I think he was trying to put as much distance between Lincoln and I as possible.
Yeah.